Aaron Rodgers, you can tell throughout this podcast, Aaron Rodgers is so into conspiracies.
Out of
Like he's a guy that I could talk to about Hollow Earth. Like for sure. If I said, "Hey, you want to talk about Hollow Earth a little bit?" He would be up for it in a heartbeat. Like that guy, you can tell as he's going through the podcast, he's talking about earpieces, he's talking about clones, he's touching on all these different things. If Joe would just open up and be like, "What do you think about XYZ?" This guy would just be pure tinfoil. That's what would happen. You know how Superman opens up the chest, got the S on the chest. This guy would just have blinding tinfoil all over his chest as he opened up his shirt. That's exactly what would happen. He's so into conspiracies. It's crazy. His wife is a doctor. He's around a doctor 24/7, but she's not a real doctor. Like the guy above you said, Jill is a doctor of Seuss. A doctor of Seuss cannot diagnose cancer. Everybody knows that. A doctor of Seuss can only diagnose rhymes. You know, nursery rhyme type things. Joe, it's time. Joe, it's time to go on The View. Put on your diaper in case you poo. You know? Like she's only qualified for that type of stuff. Yeah, it's ridiculous. At the end of the day, sad. Very sad. But let's play this about the Egyptologist. I want to hear Joe actually talk about this guy when the guy's not in the room.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
To Wuhan.
Little suspicious.
A nice timing there.
Yeah.
Why 2014, I wonder?
Yeah. Well, that was when, I think during the Obama administration, Obama wisely was like, what the are you guys doing? Like, what's the benefit of that? If you're creating more contagious diseases and you don't have cures, like what the are you doing? It's, Bobby thinks it's all weapons. He thinks it's biological weapons, which completely makes sense.
You see what Nicole Shanahan said recently about Bobby?
No.
She said she's a little confused at what kind of some of the stuff he's been saying and doing lately, and maybe he's got somebody who's controlling him.
Well, isn't there that one guy that said that him and Bobby, like Bobby has to check with him on everything that happens?
What guy?
There's too many of these people. I know I save these. I save everything. I have these bookmarks that are just completely ridiculous, and if somebody finds me and I'm dead, they're going to be like, what was wrong with him? You're a little obsessed.
While you're looking for this, Jamie, I'm sure you've probably seen some of this. When you're on Instagram, sometimes you'll come across videos and the voice you recognize right away, but you know that person didn't say it. Have you seen these?
Oh,
Your
yeah.
voice is on it a bunch. I first got alerted to it when John Reeves, our buddy John from Alaska, I heard his voice on some like UFO video.
Yep.
I was like, John, what the did you? He's like, no.
No,
like,
he's not doing any of it.
I've heard my voice on stuff too, but I heard your voices a lot. Voice names. How the they do this stuff?
It's real
and
easy.
It's dangerous too.
It's real easy now. It's crazy. It's what I see a lot of is me selling stuff that I'm not really selling. There's a lot of that. A lot of me selling that I'm not really selling.
You're not at the peddling new products?
No. Well, it's not just. It's like businesses that I'm not really interested in.
Was this the pad that Zahi was using right here? This one?
Maybe. That might have been the worst podcast I've ever done, but maybe a good one too. Just to see, okay, this is the guy, this is this closed-minded fellow that's been in charge of gatekeeping all of the knowledge about
and
Egypt.
Still standing on the same ideas, even after this LiDAR comes out.
The tomography, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
That stuff's fascinating. Because I've been, even after that podcast, I've been watching more videos for those Italian scientists describing it. They've used it to, and this is one of the things that I brought up, one of the temples that they scanned with this was very accurate. And he's like, but this was only 50 feet down. Like, yeah, okay, right, but it works. Like, at 50 feet down, you get an accurate representation of what's inside there, and he was the one, Zahi, supposedly, discovered it. But he's discovered everything, basically.
Yeah.
So how do you...
Genius.
He's the best. So
but the good thing is that Graham can go back to Egypt now.
Yes. Yeah.
So they patched up something.
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons why Zahi came on.
Oh, really?
Because Graham talked to Zahi and said, like, Zahi wants to do this. We're friends now. I was like, bring him in. Let's go.
Wow, so that was the price that Graham had to pay. He had to get this guy on Joe Rogan's podcast for Graham to be allowed back in Egypt. And when I did my first episode, a lot of people were saying, they're like, oh no, Graham's just not allowed around the pyramids. I knew it was all of Egypt. This guy, this is Wazah, whatever his name is, Zaza, he has ties to the government in such a way, and I guess because he's gatekeeping such a massive thing, right? I mean, the Egyptians want to keep claim to the fact that they built the pyramids and they were this elite society, when in reality, it probably wasn't even them. And I'm not even one of those people who was like, oh, it was all black people or black people. It was probably a people that we have no documentation of whatsoever. We have no clue who they are. And they were probably able to travel around the world, which is why you see pyramids around the world. It's ridiculous, man. It's crazy. But a lot of people said that Graham was only banned from the pyramids. No, he was banned from Egypt because of that guy. And think back to that podcast. Does that guy not seem like if he could ban someone who disagrees with him from his entire country, would he not do it? Come on. Of course he would.
Bring him in. I'll talk to him. I mean, I thought it would probably.
Did he invite you to Egypt?
Yeah.
And what'd you say?
Yeah. If I'm going with Graham.
Yeah. I
Or Jimmy
told Graham.
Corsetti.
I told Graham I wanted him to take me a few years ago. He said I can't go. They'll kill me. So next thing you know, I see Graham's taking people to Egypt. I said, what the fuck?
Well, that's nice. It's
I'm
nice
happy
that they
for him.
patched it up.
I went back. I went there last July.
Did you?
June.
How was it?
It was incredible. Yeah, it was incredible.
Did you walk away thinking immediately, there's a lot we don't know?
100%.
Yeah.
And what they tell you is complete bullshit.
Yeah. I have a friend who went there, and the archaeologist that showed him it said, this is complete bullshit. Like, the narrative
Really?
is complete bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said,
They're not
the
burial
scale of
chambers.
it, he said the scale of it and the technology involved in construction is beyond our current understanding of how to do this.
And it's not just the pyramids and the Sphinx.
No.
The other temples are magnificent.
Not only that, there's probably a bunch of shit under the ground.
I know. That's what I wanted to go see. But the cool thing was the first temple I went in was what I'd seen on Ancient Aliens, where at the very top of the temple, you have one of the most famous hieroglyphs, which has a spaceship, a helicopter, and a submarine up there. As clear as you can possibly imagine. And
Show
you're like,
that.
What the is that? How in the... What is that? Explain that, please. Because that looks like a spaceship, that looks like a submarine, and that 100% looks like a helicopter.
So weird. Egypt is the weirdest place on earth. It
Yeah.
really is. Because
But that's why it needs to be...
Yeah.
What the hell's underneath it?
Well, I think that one.
That one right there?
Yeah. I mean,
what are we talking about?
Come on. That's so crazy.
That's a spaceship or a fighter jet.
some kind of a...
That's a submarine.
It looks like a yacht. It looks
Or
like one of them
it's a
oligarch
boat,
yachts
yeah.
that they keep getting
But that's
impounded.
a helicopter.
It looks like a
I mean, come
helicopter
on,
to
what are we
me.
doing?
It looks just like a helicopter.
Yeah, that was the first
if it's
place I
not a helicopter, what a goddamn
What is it?
coincidence.
Yeah.
And, there's a bunch of weird stuff there. A bunch of weird images. And how about that one plane that they found that was inside? They found like a wooden plane
Yep.
that was inside one of the chambers.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
They just buried there with the... Yeah.
That was the other thing that Zahi was unwilling.
You're saying that you wish they found the Library of Alexandria. The Library of Alexandria, the contents of it are for sure in the Vatican. For sure, whoever burnt down that whole library. You have to remember, the Romans would go to Egypt to learn because they had the Library of Alexandria. It was under tight wraps. It was heavily guarded. So when they had the opportunity, why would the people who traveled so far, the kings, the princes, the royalty, why would they all travel so far to learn all this stuff? And then when they get the chance to have it, they burn it all to the ground. Obviously, what did you do back then? You can see it. Britain did it. The Vatican did it like crazy. You can see that. They looted that place. They kept all that knowledge. And they said, we will be the bearers of this knowledge now. And we're going to bring it back to where we're at. And it's for sure under the Vatican right now. 100%. They probably have Jesus's mummified body down there. Are you kidding me? They got everything. That's the place I want to go to. I love Egypt, but I'd rather go to Italy and just check out everything. I want to go to Italy and go to the Vatican. That's what I want to see. I want to see what they got over there. Like they got a Mary Magdalene's skull. You ever seen that? Hold on a second. I don't even know how to spell that. How do I say that? In Italy, Mary's skull. That's what I'll write. It looks crazy. It looks completely, it looks like metal, like heavy metal. Like it looks like the cover of a heavy metal magazine. Check this out. Here, let me just pull this up real quick. Looks wild. Look at this. Wow. And there's this whole thing, and it's just solid gold, and it's crazy. They just have that. And they don't have the contents of the Library of Alexandria. Yeah, right. They probably have every pope's body down there. That is so creepy. Yeah. It's nuts that they even have it. They just have it stored up just there. And it's just solid gold, solid Roman gold. And it's huge. Huge what they have it under. How crazy is that? More images. I want to see like a full thing of it. Look at that. Solid gold. I mean, solid. Let me go over here. Look at this thing. That is some solid gold they got there. Crazy. That's the type of, look at that. Look at that. That's heavy metal right there. Right away, you hear Jeremy Renner just, yeah. You know what I mean? Come on. You think they don't have all that down there? All right, let's jump back to the episode.
Willing to entertain was this King's List, this Zepteki King's List that goes back 30,000 plus years.
Yep.
They all want to pretend that that's a myth, that all the other hieroglyphs are legitimately documenting the history of the region. But when it gets past the narrative, these 30,000-year-old kings, that place has probably been there for a long time.
Yeah, probably hundreds of thousands of years.
Which is so crazy.
And it's probably built on other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing about the base of the pyramids. It's like you have to realize like there's a base there. Before they put the pyramids up, they put this insane base. And if what they're saying is accurate with these readings, that there's a structure that goes under the ground 2 kilometers, like
yeah, what is that?
If they can find that, then you have to throw everything out the window.
But aren't you with me? Like, why are we not interested in that?
Well, we are.
But why is modern archaeology not going, yeah, let's figure that out?
Because modern archaeology forever has been saying that we have the answers, that we have the timeline. We know when Khufu built this. We know when Khafre built this. We know who did this. And they're not correct. It's not accurate. It's too weird. There's no way you have all the information. Also, where'd everybody go? Like, there's people living there, but it's clearly not the same civilization. So what happened to this insane civilization? If there wasn't a collapse of society at an immense level, if there wasn't some sort of a civilization-destroying event, then where did what happened?
How about this idea? We got a new pope.
Mm-hmm.
He's from the States.
From Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's open up the Library of the Vatican.
Oh. Good luck. Good luck doing that. Have you been? Have you been to the Vatican?
Yeah.
That's wild, right? Yes. You're like, what did you guys do? Where'd you get all that?
Yeah.
When you're walking through it, you're like, what?
Yeah.
What you guys have?
And the weird tapestries where you stand on one side looks like this, and the other side looks like that.
Insane art. Like the craziest, but it's almost like a crazy person's house where they have so much art, almost like the studio. We have so much art, it's stacked up everywhere, except it's worth billions of dollars.
I was laughing because didn't J.D. Vance get in trouble for pictures in the Sistine Chapel or something? Or
did he?
Is it Sistine Chapel? And I think he did. And you're not supposed to take pictures. And I remember going in there and they told you, like, put your phone away. And I'm literally in there trying to be quiet and everything. And everybody around me is loud. They got the camera out to take photos and shit.
Photo of J.D. Vance inside Sistine Chapel sparks backlash.
Everybody around me when I was there was taking pictures.
It is forbidden to take photographs or films of any type of with any type of electronic equipment inside the Sistine Chapel, but everybody's doing that. I have photos.
It wasn't in 2015.
It wasn't when I went either.
In 2015.
Well, I went in I think 2018 or 2019, and we took a bunch of photos. The photo was taken by an official White House photographer, and there's precedent for political figures being photographed inside.
The whole thing is weird. The Vatican, Vatican City. Who guards the Vatican?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it the Swiss Guard? Why
it's a country.
It's a country.
You can't. Nobody gets extradited from that when they're accused of crimes against humanity, like Ratzinger.
Who's Ratzinger?
He was the Pope that had to step down because he was one of the guys that was moving people.
Oh yeah, from like the
Yeah.
spotlight.
Yeah,
stuff.
he was one of those guys that was, when they would catch someone molesting kids, he'd move them to another place where one guy molested 100 deaf kids. There's a whole documentary about it. He just looked creepy.
He looks super creepy.
But there's also like of one of the buildings that the Vatican owns is there's a gay nightclub in the building.
Nah.
Yeah, like some
Nah, I
gay,
can't believe
gay
that.
sex club.
Yeah. No way.
I know it's weird. They probably didn't know.
Yeah.
Probably thought it was a prayer center. Where they were feeding hungry people or something. Feeding some hungry butts. Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy how these elite people in power, before the internet, they were just doing stuff.
Shit.
They had complete control of the media, and they were just doing whatever they wanted to do, and everything was in secret. And they had these little, meetings, like skull and bone types meetings, where they'd all wear cloaks and go to Bohemian Grove and all that.
Is that not happening anymore?
I think Bohemian Grove is very toned down now. I think they use it now for meetings.
Man, that's wild. That last part they said about the Vatican. Good googly moogly. That is crazy. I can't believe that. I actually can believe that, but it's just sad to hear, Especially like when you're Christian, you're like, oh, this is going to be the place. Like they're going to be so dedicated. And then you hear weird stuff like that. And you're like, nah. The Vatican's like just one of those places. You got to see the art. You got to see the things that they have made. It's just so crazy that the place exists, Like that's what's left of the Roman Empire when you go to the Vatican, if you're wondering. Now, this is going to be a different episode.